Yes, yeah, so they're gonna be able to hear you talking. Okay, so common tip number 3. Remember with common tip number 1, we were talking about introductory elements and which elements required commas to follow them. If the key skill there was finding a main clause. If you had a main clause and you had something in front of it, essentially just separate what comes before it. With common tip number 2, we were looking at interrupting information. Again, this is where our main clause is like starting the sentence, then something gets interjected, interrupting the main clause, in the middle of it somewhere, and then the rest of the main clause comes after that. So you put commas before and after it. Common tip number 3 is concluding elements. So your main clause is going to start your sentence, come to an end, and then they're going to just kind of like stick something on the end. So these are those some things that they can stick on the end here. So we'll look at this list. First, please write down this information here. Common tip 3, use a comma to separate a concluding element from the main clause in front. So please give yourself this note, common tip 3. Then use a comma to separate a concluding element from the main clause in front, the main clause that comes before it. And again, this could be a single word, a phrase, or a clause, including. You guys get that down? Ready to go? Okay, so this chart here is just a little bit different than what we saw on common tip 1, common tip 2. For instance, common tip 1 and 2 both included prepositional phrases. That's not on this list. If I have a sentence that ends with a string of prepositional phrases, I don't need commas for it, but I do for participle phrases, appositives, nouns of direct address, adverbs, subordinate clauses, non-essential clauses, and speaker tags. So we've seen all of these before on the previous charts. So for instance, can anyone explain to me what an appositive is? Do you guys remember that one?
Apostrophe.
No.
Noun, phrase, noun.
Right, we can read it right there. There it is, a noun phrase, right? So this is going to be a group of words that functions as a noun. So look for those. So again, nouns of direct address. This is where you're, directly talking to someone and use their name or call them something. So again, all of these appear on previous charts, but this chart is somewhat different. Okay, so please give yourself this information here. Most concluding elements require a comma to connect them to the end of a main clause. So positive, nouns of direct address, some adverbs, non-essential clauses, speaker tags, and of course other stuff. They follow this pattern. So you got main clause, comma, followed by the concluding element. And again here, the key skill is identifying what the main clause is, right? If you can find, okay, there's my main clause there, and oh look, they stuck in a positive on the end, well, they're going to be using a comma to separate the appositive. Okay, so the first example we have is the concluding appositive. We've got Lisa blew a kiss at Timmy, the shyest boy in class. So here I have this group of words here, the shyest boy in class, and it describes Timmy, right? The shyest boy in class is a person. So this is a noun phrase describing a noun already here. That makes this an appositive. Hey, look, they stuck it at the end of the sentence. I'm going to use a comma, right? So pretty easy there. I hope you guys can pick up on those. Here we have concluding noun direct address. You're directly talking to your mom. Do we have any more vanilla ice cream, mom? Again, wherever a noun of direct address is found in a sentence, whether it's at the beginning, whether it's an interrupter, whether it's at the end, you're going to be using commas with it. Let's see, concluding adverbs. So Jason did forget to buy more ketchup, however. So obviously there would have been some other sentences go with this, but here we have the concluding adverb. Here we have on my 7th birthday, my family and I spent a day at Busch Gardens where I saw my first elephant. Again, here we have non-essential clause. Again, I have the subject verb pair, so this is a clause. And again, it is non-essential. Doesn't need to be there. Just describing gardens. Okay. Your sister needs to dump her loser boyfriend, my mother asserted. So here we have concluding speaker tag. So the speaker tag is where we have our quoted material here, and wherever we put in there whoever is speaking, that's called the speaker tag. Again, wherever a speaker tag is, whether it's at the beginning or in the middle or at the end of a sentence, it's going to be separated by a comma or commas. And again, do not forget that if I'm having to use a comma next to a quote mark, the comma always comes first. Great. Any questions on that? That's pretty simple. Please put this in your notes. Usually, subordinate clauses and participle phrases require no punctuation if they are in the concluding position. However, when these two grammatical units create a strong break from the rest of the sentence, or when many words separate the participle phrase from the word it's describing as a comma. That's better, isn't it? Okay, so like I said, usually subordinate clauses and participle phrases require no punctuation if they're in the concluding position. If they are starting a sentence, they always are going to require a comma, but if they're on the end of the sentence, again, typically they don't. However, as it says here, when these two units create a strong break from the rest of the sentence, or when many words separate the participle phrase from words describing, then you want to use a comma. I'm not sure I can define for you what a strong break is. In my estimation, it's more about the writer's intent. If you intend for your concluding subordinate clause to be a significant break, something you'd almost use like a dash for, then you can use a comma for it. Okay? You guys good here? Ready to move on? Great. Okay, so we have the Chris drank 6 cups of strong coffee, even though I warned him that he would have to sit quietly during the 3-hour opera. Again, what my structure here is, Chris drank 6 cups of strong coffee, which is an independent clause. And then I follow that up with the subordinate clause. So here's a clause. I warned him, such that he would have to put, but they stuck the word even though here, which is subordinate conjunction, right? Making this a subordinate clause. Typically speaking, we don't need a comma here. Okay. However, they're asserting that this is a strong break. It's right, completely, changing what's going on in the sentence. So they say that you can use a comma here. Okay. Again, I would have a very difficult time trying to explain to you the difference between a strong break or when one's a strong break and not, like I said, other than probably writer intent. Okay, next I have, during the long opera at Bob Carr Auditorium, Chris uncomfortably tolerated the performance, squirming constantly in his seat. So Here I have squirming constantly in his seat. Okay, this is a present participle, squirming, verbing, present participle. That makes this a participle phrase. Okay, this typically participial phrases will be sitting right next to the thing that they are describing. So typically this would be during the long opera at Bob Carr Auditorium, Chris squirming constantly in his seat, uncomfortably tolerated the performance. Right. So technically speaking, you could make the case that this is kind of a misplaced a little bit. I'd rather see this here. Having said that, it's fine the way they have it here. It's just since this is separated by many words from Chris, which it describes, that's going to require me to use a comma. Okay, so wonderful. Again, if I were writing the sentence, I would have structured it that way. Okay, yay, quick test. Now it's time for you guys to show off what you are doing. So, you guys want me to roll the die?
There's not anyone in here anymore.
Probably not only twice.
Do you want me to do that so you don't, so we don't, you could just tell me what to do instead of this?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Okay, so Jennifer tolerated the family reunion, slapping mosquitoes with a paper plate and drinking iced tea to combat the heat. What? The family reunion is slapping mosquitoes with a paper plate? That's why I don't like this particular example. But what do you think needs to happen?
Attention teachers, if you're having issues with Chromebooks this morning, it's not our internet problem, it is a Mornet problem.
Is it? It's somebody else's problem, I guess. I don't know.
She said like a Mornet or something.
Mornet or something like that. I'm not sure.
How am I supposed to
Okay. All right. So what do you think needs to happen here?
Well, a comma after reunion.
A comma after reunion. Okay. Okay, excellent. So you're right. I like this. Jennifer tolerated the family reunion. That's what this sentence says, right? So Jennifer tolerated the family reunion and then slapped the mosquitoes with a paper plate, drinking iced tea to combat the heat. This describes Jennifer. We have some information between the, again, participial phrase and, stupid thing, and the person that's describing here. So we need a comma there. Great. You want to take someone or you want me to roll die again? Roll it? Okay. What if it's on you again? It is number 9 again, back to back. I'll make someone else do it. 15.
I think that thing's cursed.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, Walton.
It's always.
Well, if it ends in 16, it would be.
Hmm?
If it ends in 16, she counted off 16 numbers. So it would be.
It's 15. It's
Yes,
Walton.
I know, but everyone goes up like this.
I know, right?
That would have been so much easier.
I know, but this is fun. You don't know. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So let's just look at the first sentence here. I've got in a panic. They stuck a comma there that they may or may not have needed. Tony searched the interior of his car. Okay, what does this sentence tell you? What does it boil down to? May I ask?
He lost his work and he was searching his car
Okay.
for it.
Hold on a second. Let's focus on this sentence here. Okay, what happened in this sentence?
He searched his car.
Okay. In the future, we're going to have to look at what's there. So Tony searched the interior of his car. Okay. There's nothing after it, nothing interrupting it. This doesn't require any comma, right? Other than that, they put it here. I don't know that you needed that there since it's only 3 words long, but whatever. So nothing was needed there. Okay. Now I have, he hoped to find his biology lab work under the front seat or among the clutter in the trunk. Whew. My God. What's going on here?
He was hoping to find his work
Right. Or among the clutter in the trunk. Okay. So may I ask, what is the main clause here? I'll open this up for anyone. What's the main clause here?
Cody searched the interior of his car.
We did that one already.
Oh my
We're
god.
looking at the second sentence.
I almost forgot.
I know.
You hope to find this biology lab work.
Yeah. He hoped to find his biology lab work is the main clause. Now then, they put this under the front seat or among the clutter in the trunk. What types of phrases are these? Yeah, somebody said it.
I did.
Prepositional. That's what you said, right? Okay. So I've got under, I've got among, I've got, yeah, and these are prepositional phrases. Are prepositional phrases required to be separated by commas when they come at the end of the sentence? Look at your, do your notes say that?
No punctuation if they are in the concluding position.
Right. Prepositions aren't on here for concluding elements, are they? They are for introductory elements, they are for interrupters, but they aren't here, right? Prepositional phrases do not require commas. This sentence does not require any commas. Okay? All right. You guys understand that one? That's why it's important for us to understand or be able to see what type of phrases we're dealing with. Yes, what?
I just got a trick question.
But not really. It's not really a trick question. I know we're looking for commas, and any excuse we have to stick a comma somewhere, we're probably likely to take it. But it's not really a trick question if we know that, hey, these are prepositional phrases, and we know prepositional phrases don't require commas when concluding a sentence, which is what we have here. Okay. Number 14. I'm going to say that's yours then, Carissa. So at Burger King, James tried to keep pace with Theodore, who could eat a Whopper in 30 seconds flat. I'm pretty sure I could do better than that. Okay, so what does this sentence say?
James tried to keep pace with Theodore.
Right. James tried to keep pace with Theodore is my main clause. Okay. Did they stick some crap on the end here?
Yeah.
Indeed. What kind of crap?
Information we don't really need.
I can go with that, sure. Honestly, classifying it is not really that important, with the exception of these terminal prepositional phrases, but it's stuff we don't need, right? I've got who can eat a Whopper in 30 seconds flat, right? This is a non-essential clause, so you're quite right, crap we don't need. That describes Theodore. So do I need a comma or not?
Yes.
Yes, I do. Boom. There we are. By the way, you see where, I'm going to say, generally speaking, the rule is if a prepositional phrase is 3 words or 2 words only in length, you don't really need a comma unless it causes confusion or can look weird. Would you say that you could have a King James? Right. So this comma here, I definitely would keep. Just throwing that out there. At Burger King James. Okay, so anyhow, let's see, number 4. Come on, baby. 14 again. I'll roll it again. I'll do that to you. 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's you again. Oh, Murphy? Sure. I don't know. You haven't gone yet, so we can just have you do this. That's fine. So don't bother to ask Mom, warn Sue. She never extends curfew, especially if you tell her that you will be out with a guy.
She never extends curfew.
Okay. This one is tricky.
Well, I mean, you still need your comma.
Please note
after-
please note I have a period here.
Well, in the first sentence.
Okay. So what?
A
comma after mom before the quote mark.
Right, comma after mom before the quote mark.
And then the second one, I think, is she never extends curfew.
Okay, she never extends curfew, and then you want to do that, especially if you tell her that you will be out with a guy.
Yeah.
Okay, I like both of these. Yeah, I like both of these. So, we have the, speaker tag up here on the first one requiring the comma. Here we have the, again, adverb, clause there, ending, so I like that. Questions on that one? You guys see that? By the way, again, if you find the main clause, the stuff gets really easy, doesn't it? All right. Last one looks like it's 17. Who's that? Drayson Keith? Let's make it Drayson. Could be. So, at the West Oak Small Food Court, Aisha, I suppose, winked at Rodney, a cute young man in a tight t-shirt. Probably ketchup stains on it. Who knows? What's going on here?
That'd be
Let's start with identifying the main clause. What's the main clause here?
what is the, wouldn't the comma go in front of Rodney?
In front of it?
No, or being behind it.
Behind it.
Yeah.
Yes. Having said that, what are you using to tell you that?
Alyssa, or is it the show? Wait, that Rodney?
Yeah.
Aisha.
Yeah, so, yeah, let's walk through this real quick. You're right, okay? But the way that I would ask for you to kind of walk through this is, what's the main clause? The main clause here is Aisha winked at Rodney. That's what happens here, right? And then I have this, a cute young man in a tight t-shirt describing who Rodney is, right? A cute young man in a tight t-shirt is a noun phrase, right? This is a person, right? So here I have a noun phrase describing a previous noun. This is my appositive, right? So it does require a comma. All right, excellent. Do you guys have any questions, concerns, fears, comments, ideas, observations, suggestions, expectations, or clarifications you'd like to discuss? Huh? What am I talking about? Commas? I'm talking about commas.
No, like, how do you do that? I mean, as hard as I am,